Time to begin. Listen to Xiangyu to a PhD defense. Before that, I will introduce the members of the jury. We have here Nicolas Babot, Violaine Antoine, Solène Ludouéron, and myself, Thierry Busseau. We have some invitees. Sorry for my pronunciation. Sami Yaramo, who is connected by video. It's okay?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. Simon Boisbluch, Kylian Philippe, Xiangyu, and the two thesis supervisors, Jacques Priou here, and Jush Ding, who is connected also.
Yes.
Okay. You have 45 minutes?
Yes.
After the questions?
Okay. Thank you for your introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Xiangyu, and I'm honored to share with you the whole story of my PhD research titled Position-Specific Workload Analysis, Performance Prediction, and Injury Prevention in Rugby Union. Insights from machine learning. This research was conducted in cooperation with the Rugby Club of Rennes. Since the focus of this research is to investigate the relationship between workload and performance, as well as workload and injury, we need to know what workload is. Workload is defined as a cumulative stress placed on the player during one or more training sessions over a period of time, which is categorized into external load and internal load. On a physiological level, external load includes GPS tracking running distance, speed thresholds, and metabolic power calculated from acceleration data. Internal load includes oxygen uptake, heart rate, blood lactate, and perceived effort measured by RPE scale. For example, how much players' breathing is affected. And from a biomechanical perspective, external load includes whole body loads, like ground reaction forces measured by the forcing plate, and acceleration, deceleration characteristics, and player load. An internal load includes joint load, muscle load, perceived tissue damage such as pen scores and RPE, for example, how much players' legs are affected. Performance can be understood both as a behavior or as an outcome. When performance is viewed as a behavior, it can be measured using GPS metrics, such as the absolute and relative total distance covered in Shaw's study. Behavior can also be accessed through the key performance indicators, or KPI, as seen in Andrew's research, where the point score, twice score, line breaks, etc. were used. Additionally, performance can become a behavior, and it can be evaluated through the physical fitness test, such as UU test 1, counter movement jump, and maximal oxygen uptake. When performance is considered an outcome, it can refer to league rankings, match points, and other match results. Now let's focus on the player injuries. This table shows the incidence and severity of injuries by playing position in England professional rugby. And hooker and fly half had the highest incidence of injury. And red lock and open side flankers experienced injury with the greatest severity. Regarding distribution of injury locations, lower limb injuries accounted for the highest proportion, reaching 53%. From 2002 to 2021, injury incidence during matches and training increase. It fluctuated without a clear upward or downward trend. However, the mean days of absent during training and match increased, indicating longer recovery times despite a stable injury occurrence. Next, I will present several models that can explain how training load affects performance and injury. The first model is Bannister's fitness and fatigue model. It suggests that training has both positive effects, such as improved fitness, and negative effects, such as fatigue. The fitness curve gradually accumulates after the training stimulus and reaches a peak, and then slowly declines as training stops or decreases. And the fatigue curve accumulates rapidly after training and declines more quickly. This formula shows that the current performance is determined by the initial performance plus the positive adaptation from fitness and minus the negative impact of fatigue. The performance peaks when fatigue fades, but the fitness is still high. That's when the fitness and fatigue gap is the biggest. This table summarizes representative studies that have applied fitness and fatigue model. The fitness time constant for performance remains relatively stable, while the fatigue time constant is more influenced by the training type and training load. High-level athletes have higher adaptive gain and fatigue gain ratio, indicating that their training load is greater, but they have relatively higher benefits. This figure shows the multi-component model by Coward. The model consists of 4 key training aspects. They are cardiovascular, strength, skill, and psychological. Each system influences performance through both immediate state and long-term adaptation. The driving factor K5 dynamically integrates the contributions of this system, adjusting their weights on specific sports demands to optimize overall performance. This diagram illustrates the conceptual framework of physical training. The process begins with training prescription, which determines the external training load. Then the external training load is converted into internal training load through the physical and psychological responses. And the internal training load leads to the training effects, actually acute training effects, which can be both positive and negative. Over the time, acute training effects accumulates and transform into chronic training effects. Ultimately, the training effects combined with individual factors determine the sports performance. If the performance decline, it suggests that it may be functional overreaching, non-functional overreaching, and overtraining. The next model is acute chronic workload ratio, or ACWR, which quantifies the adaptation by comparing short-term acute and long-term chronic training load. ACWR between 0.8 to 1.3 is considered the sweet spot, where injury risk is low and adaptation is optimized. However, when the ratio exceeds 1.5, the athlete is in the danger zone, and the injury risk would increase. At the fatigue indicator, acute ACWR helps identify whether recent training load is excessive. And as a fitness indicator, chronic ACWR reflects the cumulative effects of long-term training. ECWR has several key limitations, such as it ignores individual differences and the recovery status, obscure workload fluctuations, and it has also poor predictive ability and statistical noise. Currently, research has evolved from the initial Bannister's theoretical model to artificial intelligence or AI-based model. In recent years, the application of AI in sports has become increasingly widespread, with the research involving soccer, basketball, running, and other events. However, there is still a lack of research in the field of rugby union. Taking soccer as an example, a study used machine learning to construct a training load and injury risk analysis framework. This framework consists of several functional areas. The pink area serves as the input variables, and they are psychophysiological assessment and training workload. And the red area is used to label the injury records. And the orange area shows multiple machine learning models. And the blue area is responsible for training, validating, and testing the model. And the green area sets the evaluation matrix. And the gray area is the data preprocessing. So can rugby union prediction research also draw from this framework? According to a roadmap to monitor and optimize the training process. During the descriptive phase, we answered what happened by starting with descriptive statistics of workload for players across different positions during preseason and in-season. In diagnostic part, we answered why did it happen by finding the relationship between workload and performance, as well as workload and injury. In predictive phase, we address what will happen by predicting performance and injuries based on workload. And during the prescriptive phase, we answered the question, how can we make it happen by optimizing training programs by feature importance analysis using machine learning. This thesis consists of 4 studies covering data from 3 years. Study 1 was conducted during pre-season of 2022 to 2023, including several physical tests. As the most fundamental study, its purpose was to help me familiarize myself with rugby union. And study 2, 3, and 4 utilized GPS data from 3 in-seasons. Study 1 provided the theoretical foundation for Study 4, as it introduced ECWR and initially explored the relationship between workload and injury. Study 2 introduced principal component analysis, or PCA, and KPI, which were applied in the exploration of Study 3. The earliest research, Study 1, has been published in Helium. This study compares 3 different ECWR models. The couple rolling average ECWR is the ratio of the most recent week's workload to the average workload of the most recent 4 weeks. The uncoupled rolling average data is the ratio of the most recent week's workload to the average workload of the 3 preceding weeks. The exponentially weighted moving average, or EWMA, calculates workload using exponentially decaying weights. There is a study similar to ours. On volleyball club, there was a correlation of 0.646 between the EWMA and rolling average ACWR, indicating a moderate correlation. The aim of this study was to quantify and compare workload and physical fitness tests across the 5 positions over an 8-week pre-season. It also aims to analyze differences in couple rolling average and uncoupled rolling average and EWMA ACWR models. We assume that workload varied by position. But 3 ACWR models show minimal differences across the ACWR model. A total of 57 players were divided into 5 groups, and the calculations were made based on GPS data for each group. The physical tests, including drop jump, counter movement jump, and triple hop test, were compared using one-way ANOVA. And all the GPS metrics used in this study are presented in this table. They were also compared using one-way ANOVA. For comparing the differences of 5 positions within the same ACWR model, and one-way ANOVA was used. And when comparing the 3 ACWR models and considering the position factor, two-way ANOVA was applied. In terms of results, the total distance and player load for scrum half was highest over 8 and 4 weeks period. We selected this to show this workload for the last 4 weeks because ACWR was calculated starting from 28 days. For all acceleration metrics, outside backs had the highest value. Additionally, outside backs also had the highest value for high-speed running, very high-speed running, and speed running distance. Based on the jump test results, Type 5 had the highest counter movement jump peak power. This indicates that they possess greater lower body strength and explosive power. On the other hand, the outside backs had the longest triple hop distance, indicating superior horizontal explosive power and coordination. When comparing the differences among 3 models, although p-value was less than 0.05 at times, the effect size was only trivial or small, suggesting that the actual impact may be negligible or not particularly significant. For very high-speed running, inside backs had higher uncoupled rolling average ACWR than Type 5 and back row. And for sprint running distance, inside backs, both coupled and uncoupled rolling average ACWR outperformed Type 5 and back row, with uncoupled rolling average ACWR also surpassing the scrum half. In the initial research, we selected a comprehensive metric player load for an analysis. We first observed player load was highest in week 5, which was corresponded to the highest number of injuries in 5th week. When we analyzed the relationship between the player load and the number of injuries, we found a strong correlation. And we also examined the relationship between the 3 ACWR models and the number of injuries. We found similarly high correlation. However, due to the small sample size, these results were removed in the published article. After comparing GPS-based training load differences among positions during pre-season, we explored how this pattern shifted during in-season. This table presents that variables contracted through PCA in rugby research. Some study has used the dimensionality reduction of KPI, and others applied to physical and physiological indicators such as RPE, high-speed running, and 3 types of ACWR. 2 key advantages of PCA should be emphasized. The first, PCA helps reduce dimensionality and creates more relevant composite indicators. And second, component scores can enhance the performance of predictive models. This demonstrates that PCA not only simplifies data, but also improves accuracy and reliability of models. The goal of this study is to investigate training load, workload, match workload, KPI among players in different positions, and to explore the application of PCA in consolidating workload data for better understanding of positional demands. We hypothesize that players in 6 positions will show differences in training load, match workload, and match demands and KPI. And additionally, PCA would effectively reduce workload complexity by extracting principal components that present key metrics. In this study, 63 players were divided into 6 groups, with 13 GPS metrics and 11 KPI involved. ANOVA was conducted and the PCA was performed using R software. Regarding the comparison of weekly training workload of players at 6 positions during in-season, among forwards, back row players had the highest workload except for the player load. For moderate workload, such as the number of acceleration and deceleration greater than 2 meters per second square, as well as medium speed running, 15 to 18 kilometers per hour, scrum half had the highest value. For high intensity workload, outside back had the highest value. Regarding the comparison of relative workload of players at 6 positions during the match, the relative player load of forwards was higher than that of inside backs and outside backs. Scrum half players had the highest relative total distance, player load, and distance greater than 15 kilometers per hour. For the other metrics, backs outperform forwards. Regarding the differences in KPI across players' positions, the forward had a high total complete tackle and order of arrival related KPIs than backs. And outside backs had the highest carried, meters carried, and total turnovers, while the scrum half had the highest total kicks, kick meters, total passes, and total receipts. When we performed PCA on GPS training workload, 2 principal components were extracted, and we named them high-intensity explosive workload and low-intensity continuous workload. After calculating the PCA scores, we found that the scores for backs were higher than those for forwards. When performing PCA on relative workload during matches, we extract 2 principal components and categorize them as overall performance, meters per minute, and player load. After calculating the PCA scores, we found that the scores for backs were higher than those for forwards, and the scrum half had the highest score. Maybe PCA is quite easy, but when faced dozens of GPS metrics, it is typically used to extract more core metrics, enabling the coaching staff to make quick decisions during training and matches. Study 3 has been submitted to the European Journal of Sport Science and was presented at Sports Physics Conference last year. And this study explored how to use training load to predict match KPI by machine learning. In the initial design of this study, when we entered 3 keywords, machine learning, rugby union, and KPI, we found that there were no related articles in PubMed. The Google Scholar search only has 30 relevant results, but they were mainly focused on comparing KPI. And when we removed the word K from key performance indicators, the search results increased to 103 articles. However, upon checking further, these studies were either focused on predicting match outcome or the rugby league, not rugby union. And when we replaced rugby union with sports, the most relevant studies shifted to football, volleyball, and other sports, but there was still a lack of research on rugby. The goal of this study is to compare machine learning models to identify the best predictive algorithm and to use sharply addictive explanations or sharp analysis to interpret the impact of principal components on KPI. The hypothesis of this study is the PCA, derived workload matrix influence KPIs. Additionally, sharp value will reveal the most influential workload matrix on performance. This study used player training GPS data as raw features. After screening 104 GPS metrics for multicollinearity with variance inflation factor greater than 10 and correlation greater than 0.9, 18 GPS metrics were returned. And we calculate the cumulative workload for the current week, the current and previous weeks, current and previous 2 weeks. Finally, we got 54 features. Due to insufficient data, we selected 8 out of 152 usable KPIs as labels. Since few players were not able to complete a full 8-minute match, KPI were standardized based on 10 minutes interval. In this study, we used 4 models. Linear regression fits a straight line to show the relationship between the variables, making it easy to understand. The support vector regression works by finding the best hyperplane that minimizes the prediction error, and it works well with the high-dimensional data. Random forest regression builds multiple decision trees and combines their predictions to improve stability and accuracy, reducing the risk of overfitting. The light GBM speeds up training and improves accuracy by using efficient algorithm and selecting the best leaf nodes to minimize errors. Here is the machine learning workflow in this study. First, we collected training data from GPS sensors and we collected match-related KPI, then stored them on the cloud platform. Next, the data was selected and cleaned to ensure its quality. Then the data was split into training set, which made up 80%, and test set, which made up 20%. And the training side underwent the normalization and dimensionality reduction by using PCA as mentioned in study 2. And then we applied transformation to the test set. And then we evaluated, and then you trained 4 machine learning models using tenfold cross-validation and hyperparameter tuning to optimize the model performance, and then evaluated the models on the test set using evaluation metrics such as R-square, RMSE, and correlation coefficient R, and ultimately building an interpretable model. As mentioned earlier, we predicted 8 KPIs respectively for forwards and backs. Some KPIs were hard to predict, such as meters carried, total kicks, kick meters, total passes for forwards, and carries and total out of arrival for backs. This may be due to the limited amount of data or the predictive values that will concentrate around 0, or tendency to predict the same value. Additionally, some predictive KPI has slightly better results than those poorly performing ones. They have larger data sets, but their predicted value still fluctuated within the limited range. These include the carries and total complete tackle, total receipt, and total order of arrival for forwards, and meters carried and total complete tackles for backs. In comparison, total kicks, kick meters, total passes, and total receipt for backs showed relatively better performance. Due to the time limitation and the similarity of the results, I will present 1 representative KPI each from forward and backs to avoid repetition. Before applying machine learning, we first established a baseline, which was a correlation coefficient R between a single GPS metric and the KPI. And if machine learning models improve the R value, it indicates that their predictive ability of machine learning outperform those of simple correlation. Taking number of carries during the match for forwards, the baseline was 0.09. After applying machine learning, the best model was random forest regression, which increased the R value to 0.29. According to Sharp analysis, PC4 was the most important feature, and as PC4 increases, the number of carries decreases. To understand what PC4 represents, we trace back to the PCA results and found that the GPS matrix with the highest loading on PC4 includes 7 days heart rate exertion, 7 days player load, and 21 days per running distance. Therefore, if coaches want the players to perform more carries in matches, they need to reduce the PC4 value. This means that they need to decrease the 7 days heart rate exertion, 7 days player load, and 21 days sprint running during training. And when we perform the correlation analysis between principal components and the KPI, the highest R value was 0.13, which was lower than the results from machine learning. This proved that the correlation between the principal component and the KPI was not enough to achieve the performance of the machine learning models, highlighting that machine learning models can better extract key features and capture nonlinear relationships of the data. When predicting the total passes for backs, the baseline R value was 0.41. And after machine learning, the best model was random forest regression, and improving the R value to 0.87, and with R square around 0.7. According to Sharp analysis, PC2 was the most important feature. And as the PC2 value increases, the total passes decrease. And according to PCA, the main contributing factor to PC2 include contact involvement total count for 21, 14, and 7 days, as well as per running distance for 14, 7, and 21 days. So if the coaches want the players to perform more total passes in the match, the PC2 value should be reduced. This means that during the training, players should decrease the total contact involvement total count and per running. When we perform the correlation between the principal components and KPI, the highest value was 0.45, which was also lower than the machine learning. Next, I will present my last study, which focused on the GPS and the RAD matrix to predict player injuries and identifying the key features contributing to injuries. We found a related study where the researchers examined players' personal information, self-reported wellness, fitness tags, and external load, RPE and SRPE, but they didn't include the external load. In this study, our goal is to evaluate the predictive performance of different machine learning models and to identify key GPS metrics in predicting player injuries. We hypothesized that model performance varied by the player position, and the injury factor differ across position. In this study, we use 5 machine learning models. Logistic regression maps the linear combination of player features to probabilities through a sigma function and offers strong interpretability. Naive Bayes assume feature independence and calculates the probability of a player being injured or not injured, and selecting the highest probability as the prediction results. It is fast and worked with smaller datasets. Support vector machine finds the optimal hyperplane by maximizing their margin, classifying players into injured or not injured categories. Random forward builds multiple decision trees, and with each tree classifying players based on their features, and the final prediction is determined by the majority voting. It is robust to overfitting. SG-Boost is a gradient boosting algorithm that improves predictions through multiple iterations, correcting errors in each round. It supports parallel computing, which makes it faster. In this study, we selected 17 GPS metrics and calculated them based on the monotony, strain, cumulative workload for 1, 2, 3 weeks before injury, and EWMA ACWR with the time windows of 3 and 14 days, 3 and 21 days, 7 and 21 days, 7 and 28 days. So finally, we got 170 features. We then split the data into training set and test set. The training set is standardized, and to deal with the imbalance between the injury and non-injury samples, we used SMOT to generate more injury samples to balance the data set. Next, we use the gradient boosting decision tree for feature selection, retaining feature with importance greater than 0.01. And after feature selection, we perform 10-fold cross validation to access model and prevent overfitting. And meanwhile, we got a transform test data to match the same scale with the training set and perform the evaluation on the model. And a range of evaluation metrics were used, including balanced accuracy, precision, F1 score, recall, specificity, Breyer score, and area under curve, and Matthews correlation coefficient. And this process was repeated 20 times to ensure the stability and the reliability of the results. For the results, when we divided the player into forwards and backs, for forwards, the random forest model performed best, achieving an AUC of 0.89. And it also had the best results in terms of balance accuracy, precision, and Matthews correlation coefficient. Based on the feature importance, the most important features were monotony of sprint running, the strength of high-speed running distance, and followed by the EWMA-ACWR in the 7 and 28 time windows of sprint running. For backs, the naive Bayes model performed the best with an AUC of 0.82, and it also outperformed other models in terms of balance accuracy, precision, and Matthews correlation coefficient. Based on the feature importance, the most important features were acceleration greater than 2 meters per second square on the day of the injury, and the cumulative workload of medium speed running distance for 1 week, and total distance on the day of the injury. About subdivided group, some predicted results were poor. For example, the back row within the forwards, we observed that all machine learning models had an AUC below 0.7, indicating insufficient model and performance. Finally, I will summarize the key findings of this study and discuss potential direction for future research. To conclude, in study 1, we found workload varied by playing position during preseason, and 3 ECWR models can be interchangeable. In study 2, we analyzed training workload, match workload, KPI, and calculated PCA scores for training and matches during in-seasons, and we identified positional differences. And PCA remains highly practical for our team, helping us better manage the player performance and workload. In study 3, machine learning models effectively affect key features that influence KPI, which help optimize performance. In study 4, we found injury factors differed by position, highlighting the need for position-specific injury prevention strategies based on machine learning algorithm. There are several limitations in this research. First, the data set was limited as we used data from a single team, which maybe restrict the applicability of the findings. And second, our analysis only focused on external load without considering the personal information, external load, contact matrix, and physical test results, which may be crucial for comprehensive assessment of player performance and injury. Thirdly, study 3 lacks subgroup analysis. Although we divided the players into forwards and backs, we were unable to divide them into specific subgroups due to the efficient data. Lastly, the predictive accuracy is limited. Although multiple machine learning models were employed, the accuracy of prediction remains poor for certain KPIs in study 3 and for certain positions in study 4. Future research should consider incorporating data from other teams and tracking over a wider range of time to enhance the general applicability of the results. Additionally, it would be important to include player performance, internal load metrics such as heart rate, SRBE, and blood lactate, etc., and physical test results, and contact-related metrics such as the number and intensity of collisions. When sufficient data is available, more detailed subgroup analysis can be conducted in predicting KPIs. And we could also predict the location and types of player injury. Lastly, implementing more advanced machine learning algorithm could further improve the performance of the model. Thank you for your attention. I will now be happy to answer any questions and receive any comments from the jury.
Thank you. We start with the questions. First with the reviewers. The point Violaine to ask some questions.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to thank first Jacques to invite me in that ladies. And I'd like to thank you also for your report. That is interesting and very complete. And your presentation that I liked a lot. You explain well your objectives, your hypotheses, your results. You have critical analysis of your results. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
And I'd like to begin with some questions. I already told you a little bit in my report that I was a little bit surprised in your studies tree that you are using PCA to make after some SHAP analysis. I understand that you saw it in the sport domain, but in data analysis, which is the vertical domain, where we don't use so much PCA. When we want to use shape, we are mostly using selection, as you have done actually in the study 4. So, did you try to make some selection instead of PCA in study 3?
Yes, it's a long story to tell. So at first, I tried many ways to solve this problem, and truth to be told, the problem is a feature. The feature at first didn't have higher relevant to the labels. So the first time I tried different way to select the feature, like look in the feature importance, but after the selection only remains 1 or 2 GPS matrix. So if I want to contain more and more data, so I chose to use PCA, and I can explain that I select PCA is useful because I selected over 95% explained variance. So I can include more and more information about the data. So that's why I choose to use PCA, because I don't want to to give up any other important metrics, because it's a team sport. We can't just focus on for example, total distance or just focus on accelerations. It's impossible. So I choose to use PCA.
One of your results, I don't remember which slide, but you show, if I remember well, some random forest regression, and there were also SVR. I think it's slide 36, but I'm not sure. And
Yes, before I tried to, I have many models and I want to use like one with ANOVA to compare if it has the significant difference. But when I asked the professor from Finland, and he told me that it's not necessary to do such a comparison. We just need to focus on the evaluation value, not the significant difference. So that's the first. It's a problem that I faced in the beginning of my research as well.
I do understand that you cannot do all, and most of all, the interest is to know which are the top one, I would say, on the algorithms. But I would be very, very caution with because as we are in Random Forest, looks like to be one of the best all the time. And because unfortunately you don't have so much data, one can go over zeros of one very fast if we add some data. So yeah, I would not say with very big insurance that Random Forest is the best. Although, yeah, Random Forest it has a nice properties for such data sets. I think.
And I feel that we can have the better way to solve this problem is that we can perform this kind of model many, many, many times. After that, we can get many, many, many evaluation metrics, and we can make the comparison of each different kind of models.
Yeah, it's a complicated research work, and yes, I think also that your data collection, you have spent a lot of time in data collection, and well, I support it. And I want to stress about that because I think it's a very, very difficult part of the job, and it's not very, you don't represent it because you show all the results, but I think it's very amazing that you have done such a job of data collection with all the group of Rugby.
From this part, I need to thank my colleague because he works the daily data analysis collections for all the professional players more than maybe 2 or 3 years, and thank you very much. So that because of him, I can get plenty of data, and also for KPI, it is just I think it's general platform. So each team had to upload their match data so that I can download from the website. This because of them, not because of me. Yeah.
It's a team job.
Yeah, yeah.
How can you how can you measure how much of the data you have collected is noisy or subjective? Do you have an idea about the the confidence you have about the values of your data?
We didn't do the confidence test, but it's just from our daily basis and daily training test result. And for the external load, I think is clear, and I don't need to, I don't have any question about that. But for the fitness test result or other internal results, actually choose to be told again. It's not easier to collect them, especially for the professional rugby players, because we can't give them too much burden for the extra physical test results. But I do really think this kind of result is important, but maybe for the like semi-professional or for young teenagers, it's easier to conduct this kind of experiment. But for the higher professional level players, it is not so impossible to do that. And also, if we want the players to do the like questionnaire or SRPE, every time it will occupy them too much time. So for the previous seasons, we give up this kind of operation.
You have used SMOT to balance data set. You have total balance is 50-50 at the end with the SMOT algorithm. Yes, here.
Here. Actually, I don't remember it clearly, but I think I just used the setting of the SMOT in the Python, and also I tried other kind of oversampling or lower. Yes, but it not work as well with SMOT, so I just keep SMOT like that.
Okay, so SMOT was failed.
Yeah.
Did you try some machine learning algorithms that are very specific for imbalanced data sets?
I feel that this is the first attempt for my article 4, and actually the main focus is just for the unbalanced sample. It's like oversampling. I can show you. It's like random oversampling mode, ADASYN mode, ENN, and also tries undersampling like random undersampling and near miss, etc. And also for the feature selection, I tried this many like mutual information and RPE, like and maximum relevance, minimum relevance, but it not works well. And for the machine learning algorithm, I feel that I selected logistic regression, support vector, machine, etc. are most common way to use. So I don't know, is there other machine learning algorithms used for this such a kind of?
For unbalance, I'm thinking of isolation forest actually.
Oh, it's the first time I heard that. So, isolation. Okay.
Because forest, panda forest is working well with your data, so I was thinking to try that because I'm afraid SMOT can have an influence on, for instance, you said at the moment, if I remember well, that naive bias is working well. And I was wondering if SMOT doesn't have an influence on the fact that naive bias is working better. I'm not sure about that. But, so I'm afraid of this pre-treatment, pre-processing on the rest of the algorithm. That's why I think trying one or two algorithm that is very specific for unbalanced data set can be interesting to see if it has an impact in the results.
Yes, I think that mode maybe influence the results because it generates this not the real data but just based on their rules. So yeah, I will try your advice in the future if I have that time. Yeah.
But this is to begin. I think SMOT is a good idea. This is just a step forward. It's nice to try something else. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we listen now the second reviewer, Bravo, please.
Yes, thank you for this presentation. Thank you for the invitation to come here in Rennes. And it was a pleasure to read this manuscript, very clear, with a lot of concepts, with a lot of mathematical model or workload models. Not exhaustively presented, but sufficient enough according to the main topic that is developed during this PhD. So thank you for this. Thank you également. Sorry, I mix languages. Thank you also for trying to do some training, some new document to have made some alteration of the manuscript according to different comments. I appreciate the effort made for this alteration, so thank you. Now, I will start with some questions, of course. I will have some questions related to machine learning, and I will have some questions related to training, workload quantification, and other aspects. First, while reading and while listening to your presentation, I have some difficulties to understand why we try to model workload. Why we try to have to modelize balance between fitness, fatigue, and I have difficulties to understand why. So to be more precise, is it for workload quantification, for performance evaluation, or for injury prevention? Because sometimes I have the feeling these models serve to quantify the performance, but also interchangeably, okay, also to quantify injuries. So, what is the link between these different models, performance and injury? Is there a link, or is it totally different? Because sometimes I'm lost with these models. You understand my question?
If I understand well, you ask me that why sometimes when I predict the KPI, I use this kind of machine learning algorithm, and and for predict injury, I use all the.
It is not related to prediction, but why are they used? Why is the model of Bannister used? Why is acute chronic workload ratio used? Is it for performance? Is it for injury? Is it for other things? I don't understand.
Okay. So generally we use the fitness fatigue models, and then and for the no matter this kind of model or cover model or the ACW model or machine learning models, our aim is to improve the training. Our aim is to identify the training effect and help our team become better and have better results and get less injury. Yes, and we have to do many things we can't find one simple solution because the sports performance is a very huge project. So at first, the data analysis, like quantification of data analysis, like comparing the differences, like my study 1 and study 2 is the basic step. So, but it's not enough to solve this problem for our team. We just know that maybe the backs run faster than forwards, but we don't know what should happen later. So how come? So we just know the result. We don't know the reason. So we want to explore why so we want to explain why they run faster or the acceleration is good. So after that, we have to explore the project, and many years later, many years later, we finally, and now in this step, maybe in 2022, and we feel that maybe the machine learning and deep learning would be the better way. But I can't say it's the best way to solve the performance, because it's not only depends on the training factors, it also depends on the environment factor and like nutrition, also the opponents and sleep, and all the conditions. So it can't be solved. So this problem can't be solved by only this data analysis, but also other scientific person. Yeah.
So for the different studies, you calculated the workload, in fact, using different methods, mostly for study 1. Can you explain shortly how exactly it was quantified? is if you use the average of the four first weeks, the average of the 8 weeks. What is it? Is it for each training, for the whole week, for the whole period? It isn't clear.
Yes. At first, I'd like to say that the two main objectives for study one is to compare the difference of the workload for the players in 5 positions, and it's the average for 1 week. Yeah, not average. It's a single training. Each training session after we collected, and when we combine, we choose to use the 8 weeks because we want to include more and more data to have the sufficient data to make the comparison. And the second aim for this research is to compare the 3 different ACWR models. And actually, we calculated the ACWR model still based on this 8 GPS matrix. And this is the 2 main objectives for this research. But for the other results, it's just an attempt to make my article, make my research, just have more information here. And this article is not quite clear because it is my first choice to explore the Rugby union. So I just want to include more and more money. Data.
Okay, but is it the total, the mean?
It's the total distance means that each training session, how many distance the players run in the field.
That looks like this. 16. This graph. Okay, you have quantified the total distance, player load. What does it represent? What does it represent as compared to a game, to a normal week? Hard question, maybe.
Yes, I can explain that during the training sessions, the workload is generally higher than the match during the match. Yeah.
So they are higher than during the game.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Sure?
Sure.
Not so sure.
Because when I did the second study, I chose to use the 1 week cumulative week. So maybe it's more than 8,000 meters 1 week. So for this, it's only 3,000.
Because in fact, for study 2, you indicated you used relative values. What does it mean, please?
It means that the workload is standardized for meter per minute.
Only by time.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the literature review of your manuscript, you indicated that workload can be quantified using absolute and relative values. So it means in this part of the literature review that it is expressed per minute. So it is this the difference between absolute and relative workload?
Yes, I saw your comment on this part, and I didn't include more because the relative and absolute value calculated just based on
because
this.
it can be understood differently. It can be understood as a percentage of the game. So you can quantify a percentage distance as compared to the game, a percentage number of acceleration or deceleration as compared to the game, and it makes reference to the worst case scenario that is starting to be quantified during training. So it is one important aspect of training. Okay.
Ah,
I don't know why.
I can explain that. In the published article, I don't have this kind of a result. And I include this physical test results. The first reason is that we have this data. I don't want to waste this data set because, as I said, it's very hard to get this data as a result. And the second aim is that this study one in my thesis, not in the published article, is because I think the time period is very important. It's for the pre-season, so I want to include all the information that happened during the pre-season in 2022 to 2023. That's what I do this. That's why I do.
So what about RPE? Because you had these values.
I don't have.
You don't have?
Yeah, because in our team during that time it's possible, but now we have this season. We have maybe for my next next colleague. Yeah.
Okay, I thought you had. I often have difficulties with player load. As I wrote in my report, it is a device-specific outcome, a device-specific value. How can I use this if I don't have catapult? Okay, it is. Okay. It is not necessary to answer my question.
Maybe I.
It is a good slide. Um, if we look at the two graphs, we have a peak during week five. Are they directly related, or are they just random, or just are they just random? I mean, I would say maybe you have more injuries during week five because training was harder during week three.
It's in.
Harder, I mean,
Yeah.
not so much distance, not so much player load, but the perceived exertion maybe could be higher for this week. I don't know.
Yes, actually it's true. And during the pre-season, we usually have the higher workload during the training sessions than the in-season. And we have 8 weeks pre-season, and the first block is for the 4 weeks. After we have 1 week repos. And after that we have 55 to 58. So maybe the week 5 is the result in the figures show that they have a higher correlation, but in week 5 the players just restart the training again. So that would be the reason, one of the reasons. Yeah.
Okay. Now, concerning machine learning, I am not specialist of machine learning, but I am machine learning friendly. I like it. I like this. I have the same question. Why PCA? But and why not using different mathematical models or algorithms to select variables? But okay, you already had the question. Can you just make it clear on how you use PCA during the machine learning algorithm in study 3? How is it used?
Yes, actually, PCA in machine learning is just a very small process in this way, and it's just a small, just small process in the all the machine learning algorithm, and we put all the data set into the model, and after we split as a training set, and based on training set, we use just the initial citing about the PCA, and finally for forwards we will have around 12 PCA, and for backs we have 11 PCA. which includes the, as I said, 95% explanation for variance explanation. Yeah.
Why during studies 3 and 4 you had different machine learning algorithms? Because, okay, for study 3 you used random forest that is used in study 3 and 4. In study 3 you have the light boosting, and for study 4 the extreme boosting. Why these different choices?
Yes, the first is the first. This because of this the different type of the task. And when I predict the KPI, it is referred to the regression problems. So we have to predict the continuous values. In this case, we need to choose the regression model like linear regression and random forest regression and supervised regression, etc. And for the injury, it's about the classification. So it's quite different project with the pre-regression like KPI continuous data, because when we predict the injury, it's just one is injured and the other is not injured. It's just two like separate variable. And and also we can say that the linear regression is easy to explain, and for SVRs, they kind of deal with the non-linear relationships. And for the classification, like SVM and logistic regression, it can give such kind of line to just separate injured and not injured. And also for the regression models, it can give us the explanation of how this variable changed, like how feature changed, how it can influence the labels. And also SGB boost this also works for its classification, and like GBM is for the regression, just because of they have different different task demands.
Now I understand better. Also, why did you use a different proportion for training and testing? Just a stupid question.
No. For the predicting KPI, I select to separate as the 20 and 80%. It's just a carrier choice, because at first I have to explain that before I standardized the KPI. For the first attempt, I selected player who finished 80 minutes match, but the data set was quite slow. So during that time, I was using the bootstrap to predict the KPI. But after I standardized the KPI in the 10 minutes interval, I will have like around 2,000 data sets. So I have enough data to just do like 8 and 2. And also, for the injury, I think it's just the because I want because the injury sample is quite small, but the non-injured is higher, so I want to include more injury sample in the test set. So I selected the 7% and 30%.
Two last questions. First one is, as I wrote in my report, you did your PhD on elite rugby players. But what is the application of this work for amateur players, for young players, for women? Do you have any idea? Can you speculate? You are authorized to speculate right now. If you apply these different studies on different population, do you think you will obtain the same results or not? Let's focus on men and women, for example. Do you have some main results?
Actually, I didn't know about women and professional players, but I can say that for the other team sports or other like different level of players, they can use the same machine learning algorithm, and like it's because every time we put the data, we will have the like different results. So for the woman, for the other amateur players, they have to try based on their own data. But I still think that our results is quite it can be applied, or it can be just the tips for those kind of teams. Yeah.
Same question. In fact, for different periods of the year, because sometimes there is some congestion periods with more games per week. Sometimes there is no games per week. Do you think you will have you should include some contextual variables to moderate the results from the machine learning algorithms?
So you mean
So my question is related to contextual parameters, such as the calendar, such as, I don't know, temperature, I don't know.
yes, I feel that another limitation of this research is that we should include this kind of data, like if it's rain today and how much temperature today, and what's the condition about the opponent, and also we can add the technical technical skills factors to these models. So in the future, I believe we will have the not wonderful, but likely wonderful models to predict the KPI or injuries.
Okay. Last question. Do you like rugby?
Ah.
And what was your job at the rugby club of Van?
Yes, and I can
Do you
tell
like rugby?
I like watching rugby, and I can't.
Playing?
Yes, and
Have you tried to play?
no, it's hard. Yes, and I feel that before I think what is rugby, there are many minds just playing on the field. I don't understand their rules. I don't know why they do this kind of actions. But when I took part in our team, I feel that every players are quite nice, and every time I just shake hand with them. But in the Saturday or Friday afternoon, their face just in the tele. So I feel that I know this kind of superstar, and I can say I like watching rugby game because every week I will focus on this is top cutters, so I watch them.
And your job at the rugby club of Van?
It's for the data analysis, and
You went during you were with a team during games, during training, all days, or just for you were just in the club for the PhD? Did you go to the games during the weekend?
yes, thanks for my coach, and he gave me the ticket so that I can watch the match face to face. And yeah, for my job, actually I worked there for more than 2.5 years. It's quite tough, but I really like this kind of job. Every time during the daily basis, I calculate the basic demand for the coaches, and after several weeks, or if we get enough data, I can build other models, not just only machine learning, but other models only for our team. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much
Thank you.
for the presentation and for the answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Nicolas, is it turn to Solène?
Thank you, Xiangyu and Jack, for the invitation. Before moving into the question, I would like to outline our work because it's a very substantial work carried of all our thesis. This is evidenced by our document, 400 pages, and
I feel that it is quite necessary to add more data like cardiovascular and the fitness test result. But the most problem is that we don't have we don't have that data. So I only can use this data from external load. But I really want to include this kind of data in the future if we have such a kind of condition. Yeah, it's just one of our limitations. We don't have this data.
Okay. And if we think about the perspective, which parameter and another parameter you want to integrate in our model
You mean you mean of like
in the future
in the future? Okay.
to continue this work?
Yes. So I feel that the most important factor is internal factor like RPE and SRPE, because sometimes the players have the same, like they have same total distance, but they have different feelings. So I think the important thing is to get the feelings, like the after each training sessions we can get the RPE data and SRPE data, and after that we can still monitor the outside environment. So every time they have different conditions of training. So of course the temperature, the wet, etc. should be included. And also for in our club we have the like similar diet in the so we have into so we need to focus on nutrition, and also it would be better if we have the blood sample, but it is quite hard to have blood sample, especially for the player load. If we can get the blood sample, we can have all the blood matrix in their body. Like it's hard to say it's in English, but yes, it's like it's just like I only know it's balactic, and also is the robot. Yeah, and also heart rate is very important to include to this. We can't only use the heart rate. We can also have the heart rate variety and percentage of heart rate like that, and also for the external load, I think Professor Babot has a very good idea is that I need to add the percentage for the workload. Yeah.
About this percentage and the notion of relative workload, you speak about testing and, for example, the jump. You don't speak about the maximal aerobic speed.
Uh,
Did you evaluate it?
no, no.
Do you think it would be an important information, for example, for our speed threshold, the speed threshold we use for our model? Do you think we can use the aerobic maximal speed to precise?
Yes, I have tried this kind of test. It's the first thing is that I feel very exhausted, and it occupied me. It takes me a lot of time. So I feel that this data is important, but for our team, it's impossible to do this kind of test like 1 week to one time 1 week each one time 1 week. So maybe we can only do this 1 year, one times a year. So it's hard to add this kind of metric. But if we have different other subjects like the runner, and for not team sports but individual sport, I think it's quite necessary to add such kind of like cardiovascular exercise test.
And in our research question, our research question is how we can understand the training workload demand of prayer during the pre-season. And before you speak about different phases of the
this. And the first reason is that it's my first study, so I want to have my article, and I just use the 8 weeks workload to analyze them and get my results. And my article is just a simple reason. And the second reason is that during the pre-season, as I said, we usually have the higher workload. And we trained in Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, like 4 times a week. And during in season, we have 3 times a week. We don't need to have too much pressure on the player. And during the preseason, I think the aim for the coach is to get the functional overreaching so that they can recover after that they will have a high level on their bodies. So I think the preseason is also important. And if I want to have the whole research of my thesis, I think I need to add different time period, like the pre-season and in-season, like that.
Okay, for the pre-season, but at the end of the season, when we go to the end of the season, the problematics are not the same. At the start of the season, we want to obtain a peak of performance, and after we want to maintain the peak. And do you think the performance parameters are the same? And do you think our models are valid for these two periods?
Actually, in our team, we don't have as we finish the season in May, and after we restart a pre-season in maybe at the middle or at the last of the June, and I feel that after a long-term recovery, after that, when the players restart training, they will have a slightly higher workload, and then maybe because they need time to adapt to it, so maybe it will change. But after maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, they will get normal.
You have a lot of data. Even you focus on the pre-season, I think you have the data during all the season. Do you think it would be interesting to compare the evolution of the workload, all our parameters during all the season? Because I think the stress factors, the fatigue, the performance are not enough. So I think to focus differently and to compare period would be, do you think it would be interesting?
Yes, I think you provide me a new direction for my future research, and it's very necessary to track, like year by year, season by season, and to see how it will be changed, and also, if possible, we can track individual players and or like just divide them into more specific group, and so that we can have the more specific results.
And in the season, but also during, I think in our second study, you analyze on 3 seasons. Did you compare those 3 seasons?
Actually, I selected 3 seasons in Article 2 because I selected different weeks, which means that I only selected the match in home game that week, and so, because for our second season we're working with the like final game for the top gadolls because we are the Pro D2. So sometimes the match sometimes the match was in Thursday or Wednesday. So after I delete the this kind of week, we only keep the match in the 5 evening and that week. So after 3 years, maybe we have many weeks after. We only have like 30 weeks data. Yeah.
Methodological question. Our project indicate one. So in all our study, you precise that you obtain or you respect the standard, the ethical standard of the university. Did you ask for CPD?
Yes, especially in study 1, and I wait, if I understand well, I wait maybe at almost 10 months or 1 year to get this kind of document. And for the study 2, study 3, and study 4, we have the document from our team, like from the medical staff of our team. So I think it's officially unuseful for the ethic committee. Yes. Actually, in this study, I only analyzed the 8 KPIs. It's not enough because we have more than 150 KPIs. So I think I still need to analyze like line breaks, line out, line over one, etc. This kind of different KPIs. And for a long time, for example, if I work in the Rugby club for 10 years, then I can use the deep learning algorithm. And also we can trace the time. How can it change by the time? Like each training session or each week, I can use the long-term memory model like that. So after we have big data, enough data, I can do more with other advanced machine learning, deep learning, and I can analyze more different in different KPI performance and we only have, for 3 years, we don't have too much injury data, and maybe 10 years later, we will have enough injury data so we can predict the different bodies part of the injury and how severe, like how many days they're absent, and so that we can improve we can optimize the workload. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's my turn for the questions. First of all, I'd like to thank you also and your supervisor for the invitation and for the work, the manuscript and the presentation. It's really a pleasure to see this work. You know, I'm not a specialist of machine learning. I'm working for a long time with all models, impulse response model, and I'm really happy to see these new approaches to study the training process. It's very interesting. And I think this corresponds better for the team sports and also to the use of all the devices you use as your assist for that. A lot of data. So we need more sophisticated models to study the training. Yeah, so well done. It's very interesting. I have some questions on the input variables we have used. We begin for the aerobic training. You use heart rate, but if I well understand, we have only used the time spent above 5% of heart rate max. So It's the time. Don't touch the page. It's the time spent at heart rate above 85% of heart rate max.
Yeah.
You don't use a lower heart rate. Why?
It's a very simple reason because I didn't download this word from the platform, and for sometimes on heart rate, monitor is not so accurate, so so we didn't choose more like heart rate matrix.
Because in the review of the literature, you show the data according heart rate zones, 5 zones. Remember from Robin Dubois? You see there is the time spent
Uh,
by different zones of heart rate.
yes.
And what I understand, in your studies, you only use the last line, the data above 85% of heart rate, the maximum heart rate. Why did you not use the other zones of training?
I think at first our focus is not about the heart rate, so
You only, it's not important for you the heart rate.
yes, but I think in the future, if we have more and more different heart rate zone, I think it's okay. Yeah.
You prefer GPS metrics.
I have no choice because I only have because I only selected this kind of matrix, and for the other reason, maybe for different zone heart rate matrix, they have the higher correlation coefficient, so maybe it would be removed from the feature selection part. Yeah.
So, you forget heart rate, it's not a problem. I have also a question about the speed zones. You, in study 3 and 4, you define medium speed between 15 and 80 kilometers per hour. Not in the study one, it's different. Do you think that these values are correct for everyone, every rugby player, every, you say medium is between 15 and 18 kilometer per hour, high speed above 18 kilometer per hour. It's a fixed value, it's a typical value, I know. Do you see this value are correct for every people, every player?
In my literature review part, I organized a table and I said that many people have a different standard for the high-speed zone, very high-speed zone, and spur running zone, and sometimes they treated the 15 kilometers per hour as very high-speed running distance. And in this article, we choose them as the medium speed zone because in our team, it's just suitable for our team. Yeah.
Maybe because between 10 and 15 kilometers per hour, maybe for the backwards is a medium speed, and maybe for the first, for the forwards is a very hard speed. So, do you think there is the need of to have different value, different thresholds for the according to the position?
Yes, I think it's necessary that we can't let the forwards and the backs have the same standard for the speed zone. I think maybe in the future we need to modify this kind of style and just do some individual individual test for this different, like not only for the forward and back, so only for the subdivided group. So each group, like type 5 and back row, they will have their own standard for high speed running. Because for number 8, they are still the forward, but they can run fast. And for the maybe number 1 to number 3, they need to have to just do the contact. They don't need to run fast. So I think it's necessary to change the standard.
That's the number 1 and number 3 have to run also. When you run 10 kilometers, maybe it's low speed for you, for them.
We can try according not only based on the external load, it can also based on the internal load, so we can have the comprehensive assessment about different positions in the players in different positions. And I feel that you give me such a broad direction for how to make the different standards for the forwards or for the backs.
Another question for the strength, not allowing training for strength training. I didn't understand how you have included the work done during the strength training sessions.
Actually, in our team, the strength training is just it's indoor activities, and during that time, I think they can't measure the GPS matrix, and they also they don't. And they also don't use like a player load, but only, I don't know if we have SRPE. So for the strengths, we don't have any strengths, just for the outside activities.
The players have several sessions per week of strength training.
Every week we have
there is 2 or 3 strength sessions.
Yes, they have.
It's important work in the week.
Sometimes.
It's a part of training is very important. So do you think that this work is neglected in your approach?
Integrated.
You estimate the work done during the strength session because you use GPS metrics, GPS metrics. I don't know have the number of repetition of squat or this kind of stuff.
This, I think, maybe strength matrix is also important, but we have just like a physical coach, and they have their they have different repetitions during the training sessions, but I don't know exactly how it will. And every day, like we have the strengths, maybe for example in the morning, and in the afternoon we'll have the order activities for GPS tracking. Yes, and also for the strength test, for strengths, I think maybe the same position player have the similar repetitions of strengths, so maybe it's hard to find the difference. Yeah.
Because I think it's very important for the physical fitness of the players, and maybe there is also a protective effect against injuries.
Yes.
I appreciate also your review of the literature. There is a lot of topics and there is a lot of information. I noted one index as the match difficulty index, match difficulty MDI.
Okay.
I found it very interesting to compare the indicators according to the opposition of the adverse team. In your own studies, you did not use the Why do you did not use MDI as a match difficulty index?
The first reason is that not so many articles publish kind of MDI, and the second reason is that we can't have we can only focus the data from our team. We don't have the opponent's data like that.
Nobody use it? It's only one idea, but nobody use this index?
I don't know. Not too many articles researchers use it. Maybe in the future I can try to use it.
Yeah, I understand it's difficult because it's an index between 0 and 10 or you speak about overreaching. Overreaching is important also for me. Did you observe cases of players during the 3 seasons where players who are really overreached? They need to recover, they need to play less. Is frequent or not in the team?
I feel that in professional team, it's not often to have this kind of overreaching because our training is under the monitored by the coach. So if they found the players doesn't have the good condition, they will let him stop. And I think only the most important thing for the coach is to have the functional overreaching, and I haven't heard for the unfunctional overreaching, and even someone can't if the player can't come back to the game to team just because of their injury, not because of overload.
There is no need of tapering or picking or this kind of training strategy is not useful for the player. You agree? Maybe during the pre-season, maybe.
Yes, during preseason we also have a higher workload than the in-season, and we have 1 day more during the in-season training. So during preseason, I think the objective for the coach is just to let the players get more and more workload and to easier to adapt for the training in the in-season.
Forget some question, but in your perspectives, this one, you write one idea about longitudinal tracking. In your perspective, you say that one idea for the future is to develop longitudinal tracking. Can you explain what is it? What do you mean by that? Longitudinal, the last year.
This.
Yeah, multitude and longitudinal tracking. What do you mean by that?
It's
What is your idea?
My idea is to get more and more and more data, and now we only have 3 years, but after we have another 3 years and then another 3 years for the same team, for the players, maybe the players will change because they will go to another team, but for the average, for the level of our professional player, I think is quite similar. So if we have 10 years or even 20 years, we will have enough data.
It's cumulated more and more data.
Yes, it's necessary to build the machine learning model.
Number of players and because maybe I think the idea was also to analyze students say that of the evolution of the models. We track the evolution during the season. that's your ranking, okay. And the second point, so we speak about heart rate, and as you say you wanted to integrate internal load metrics. What do you mean by this matrix? Is heart rate or something else?
Yes, it's not only the heart rate and heart rate related metrics, and also for, like I said, like SRPE and maybe different questionnaire, and also heart rate, also the like blood sample test is also for the internal load. So I want to have more and more different kind of aspects.
Well, this is the method of Foster, the session. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you again. It's time to there is other jury to speak. Thank you for the presentation and for your answers. We are listening now in Vitis, and we begin with Sami Remo.
Yeah, by Jim.
He's connected on.
Yeah.
Oh.
So maybe we can change. Maybe you can take okay, you can speak, and after that, Simon, and after Killian. Okay, and we will try with Sami. Okay, we can change. Okay, we will see after.
Well, I always like to fight fighters, to save someone. Well, anyway, okay, it's really, really a pleasure for me and honor for me to participate in your defense in a kind of ceremony and ceremony. And also, I want to say not to the Jack and a very old friend, and we worked together for a long time. But it's my first time to join your teams of Soutenance. Okay, actually, my questions will be a little bit general because, sorry, I'm singing, okay, I'm singing, okay. Okay, my question will be a little bit general because, your research is quite a, long distance, far distance from my research. So I will raise some questions more general. So, I always think, I know your past, and I'm knowing your present. And I want to look deeper. So my question will be divided into two parts. The first part is from the past to your present. And I will present some situation in China about this kind of research. And in China, we never say this research is, the science de la vie or something. We say the human kinesiology. Yeah, human kinesiology. More physical, more biological, or even something like neuroscience. So your research is quite different from, your research now is quite different from you have done in your master's thesis, is quite different. So my question is, first, I have two questions, of course. Question is about how you transfer the knowledge you have learned or you have been trained in your master period to use in your present research in this thesis. It's my first question, and then after you answering, I will ask another questions. Okay.
Okay, thank you for your question. And during my master, like I just did the animal experiment, and I just like let several mouse to work in the platform and climb the ladder, and after that I can get the data. But the way I deal with the data is about just the descriptive analysis, just like one-way ANOVA and two-way ANOVA, like that. And so during my PhD, I just shifted my subjects from mouse and as a professional human. And so at first, it's quite hard for me to do this because I can only face with data, many data, but I can't do. So the simplest way for me to do is to do the data analysis, especially using the SPSS, like graph path software, just to compare the difference between the each groups. And during in season, during the in season, I know more about technology, and from like 1 year later, I think I can't do this anymore because it's not enough to reflect the real situation in our team, and I want to do more to share with our team and hope our team have the better results and give some useful information to the coach. So I learned, and so I changed the direction, and I think I can use more advanced model to do the analysis for our team.
Okay, thank you very much for your first answer. And my second question is about your present to the future, which I will not confirm a lot. So, firstly, you confirm that you study the sports of rhythm, yeah, sorry, the pronunciation. And this kind of flexible sports is not so popular in China. Yeah, everybody knows which sport is much more popular in China. But I can say one phrases, if basketball, football, for example, football, if we, I will, we were very happy if we win. But some sports, we are very happy we will lose because in the world, someone want to play with me, with us. So I don't know your future, but I don't know your plan. If you want back to China or go to different country for PhD, for example, postdoc or turn the track if you like, okay? You back to China, if, I say if, you have to answer. Back to China, if you want to do some research with more popular sports, like I have to say table tennis, but very popular, very famous French table tennis player. Two brothers play Chinese style in Europe. In Europe, it's fantastic. I want to meet him. Okay, and how to transform or make some changements of your research methodology or your way of research of the theoretical background into some like individual sports or net sports or separated by net sports. Is how can you reflect of it or think about it? Because you are facing something different or completely different area or world if you're back.
Yes, I feel that during my PhD, I get new skill for my knowledge, and now I know how can I build machine learning models, and I know how can I handle this data as well. So in China, I'm not afraid of taking part in another team sport like soccer, basketball. I think I can handle it, and I can do well with this kind of team sport. But for the individual sport like the swimming and ping pong and tennis, I think it's just a different way to build different models. And if now I have the basic for to build the model, but for those kind of subjects or the players, I think it's quite similar knowledge for me, and if I can't do it well, I just learn how to write this code and how to build model. I think it's quite a similar thing for me.
Okay, so I was just satisfied with her, competence of data representation, counseling questions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions.
Thank you. Maybe
You can try to contact us. I mean, which is
by the prediction.
It's that I can't connect.
hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you?
Hello, professor. Yes. Yeah, yes. Please wait 1 minute.
Est-ce qu'elle est la souris? Je la vois même pas. Je vois plus rien. Moi, je la vois là. Ah oui, mais. Elle est là. Ah, moi, je la vois pas parce que je vois de moins en moins bien. Ouais, ok. Ok, ici. Ouais, mais quoi que. Allez. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Maybe you could. Yes. Thank you very much to be present here, Sami. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much for inviting me to this defense. It's been very interesting yes, I'm very happy that I've been able to collaborate with Xiangyu and all of you with this topic, and it's always interesting to do multidisciplinary research. It's not maybe the easiest because then you have to step a little bit outside of your own research field, but I feel it's many times very fruitful. And I think I'm a little bit sports scientist, but mainly data scientist. And I would have a question to you, Xiangyu, that what do you think that we have now everywhere huge expectations for machine learning and AI algorithms, but in your research and in your research field, which one you see as a bigger bottleneck for the future development? Is it algorithms or data? Which one should be emphasized?
Sorry, I don't understand. Sorry, could you please repeat your question?
Repeat the question.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. So there are huge expectations everywhere from machine learning and artificial intelligence, and it's always a question of data and information in data, and then we have a lot of computing capacity nowadays and a lot of methods to apply, to choose, and which one do you see as a bigger bottleneck for the future development in this type of research?
Sorry, I don't understand. Pot to like. Repetitions? The limitations of machine learning, right?
Okay, yes. Bottleneck, yeah, limitation, challenge.
Yes. It's it's a huge problem. Machine learning can only explain how it's a result, and after we have a result, we can understand the question. But it's just that we have the question to. I mean that sometimes machine learning it's just like black box, and it's hard to explain everything for the performance or for the players' injuries. But I've it's hard to say that. I feel that machine learning can give us information to get our team, but it's not the most important one, not the and because during the training, machine learning is just a tool to solve the problem, and more importantly, more importantly, like the training may be decisioned by the coaching staff, and also influence the match outcome may be influenced by the opponent. So for the machine learning I use now is just focused on our team and find some little useful information. And also in our team, I feel the limitation for the machine learning is that it's quite rely on the data set. And if we don't set a random forest, and every time I put many data, and each round the results would be changed. So we need to do more and more training and spending our time. And so I feel that the focus is to find the way to improve the efficient algorithm. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have another question and one more question. So it's a very general question, but I think it's good in defense. And so what's the most surprising thing you learned or discovered during the whole process?
Yes, I can say that the most maybe it's more challenging for me to do this kind of research, and at first I know nothing about machine learning, but finally after I take the lessons and I ask the questions from my colleague and my friends who learned the IT information technology, and they help me that finally I know as what's the machine learning and how does it works and the principle of the machine learning, and I feel that I'm so proud of what I have done. And I faced the big challenge is that last year, at the beginning of last year to like maybe June of last year, I worked hard for the machine learning, but all I do was wrong. So I have to just forget them, give up them, and starting a new one analysis. And especially during Finland, and I exchanged there 2 months. For the first month, I tried many different ways to solve the problem, and it's still zero last year in October. But only one day in November, I just solved all the problems, not only for my Article 3 and also for my Article 4 because of your help and your guidance. And so I feel that it surprised me. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, and congratulations for the very good defense. I think I don't have more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sabine.
Thank you.
It's time to Simon Wabush.
Thank you for your presentation, and thank you for your great work during the last 3 years with our team. Yes, it was a great job because you help us a lot. We have a problematic with our
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. It's my honor to work with you.
Okay, well, thank you, Simon. Kylian?
Yes. Thanks a lot. So Doreen, apparently, is your name? Doreen?
No, it's my previous colleague.
The nickname. Anthony. Anthony. Ah, okay. So the nickname. Thanks a lot for your presentation. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for people that struggle to build from past research, such as Foster, Bannister, Busso, Gabbett, Lindsay, etc., and you're just bringing the information from all the tools and technology that we have today and building onto that. So I'm really grateful for that. Yeah, so basically I also want to express my gratitude to Jacques for bringing me here today. It's been a pleasure to assist you with the publishing of your papers on the research and workload. So definitely gratitude to that, but a bit of resent as well because now I have to learn more about machine learning. So it's definitely time-taking. But as a human performance specialist, we always have to add arrows and tools to our tool bag. So definitely looking forward to learning a bit more about machine learning. I just have a quick question. I feel that, like, you know, as a performance practitioner, we have the biggest difficulty we have today is bridging the gap between theory and laboratory work and what's happening on the pitch and on the field. So I'd like maybe just you to look back on the 3 years and identify the things that, you know, maybe you could have done better or things that you would have switched. Provide maybe Simon with more insightful information on his role as strength and conditioning coach and human performance. And then as well, if we could look at, what would you have changed? Maybe in terms of data or things that you would have monitored differently during the 3 years or during those 4 studies.
It's
It's more of a practical question. It's not a question according to your studies, but would you have changed things? Would you have inputted different monitoring systems or different methodologies or different tests? Things that maybe you feel would have helped you more with your research or maybe given you more insights in terms of results?
okay. During these 3 years, I just do the basic like machine learning models, just to use some GPS data, and the most important thing for me is to know how to use this machine learning method. And in the future, I feel that I can give the different set view for the research in the sports. And so in the other researchers study, they don't need they don't need to focus on just comparison between each of them, between before and now, and between the different groups, but they can use this kind of this kind of model to do more analysis and to do more predictions. I think we are the first article, maybe in Rugby Union, so it would be a guidance for the for next researchers, or maybe even for more research. Yeah.
Okay, just to add on from, because you had a bit of questions on implementing relative values to, for example, maximum speed, MAS, etc. I think that I'm going to take your defense in that second, but I think it's a very difficult environment you worked in. So also a lot of respect to you on that. You know, joining in the professional rugby, it's a very strict world, very dangerous world, and very unpitiful world. So lots of respect to you for working in
Yes, but for the transferred players, like we already seen that many players come and go every year. But all I can do from now is just to select the players who take part in longer time, and so maybe in the future we can do some model to just track the different players, even if they leave or not. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Kylian. Now there is the two supervisors, and we begin with choose aiding. Maybe it's connected.
Professor Ding.丁老师，您在吗？
Hello.
老师好。
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Please.
Hello. It's extremely honor to me attended this defense, and thank you so much everyone and his distinguished friends, and who hope to have some chance to visit this China Normal University in Shanghai. And near the end of this today's defense, I understand that Xiangyu got a so good academic training during your university, and his excellent presentation. And I think it's honor for East China Normal University, not only me, even our university. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
You have any question?
No question. No question. No question.
No question? Thank you.
No question.
So thank you. You finish with the second supervisor, Jacques. You.
Thank you, Mr. President. Oh, that is the end of your PhD defenses. How do you feel?
Yes, I think I just finished the work, and then we'll have a good new start.
Okay, thank you. Before to discuss with you, I would like to thank Mr. Chu Ding. Thank you very much to be present, even you are in Shanghai. I would like also to thank all the members of the jury. Nicolas, Violaine, and thank you very much to Simon, because we collaborate with Simon from 10 So my question is, what do you want to do in the future? Not only in the next future or two next future, but in your life. Do you want to continue to make research, academic research, or what do you want exactly? Do you know what you want to do in the future?
Honestly, I don't know, but I accept everything happen in the future, and maybe I can work with you, and we can have more different publicity articles, publicated articles, and maybe I can work for our team and give more useful information to our coach team. And no matter what I do in the future, and I believe that I will have the capability to do it well. So I really thank you for your opportunities, every opportunity you give me. So I won't refuse any chance.
Okay. But do you want to make research in sports sciences, or do you want to make research in another scientific area? I don't know which, but do you have an idea about that?
Yes, I think in the future I will still work in the sports science.
Okay, okay. So I have not another question, Mr. President. So
So it's time to conclude. So the jury will deliberate. The members of the jury will
stay here. We stay here.
stay here. And maybe
Yeah.
20 minutes.
30 minutes. 30 minutes, not more.
Okay. Thank you.
It's okay? And the review, c'est bon? Xiangyu, after the deliberation, the jury have decided to award you the degree of Doctor of the University of Rennes and the University of East China Normal University. The jury communication no longer exists, but we still, all the members of the jury wish to congratulate you for your thesis work, and well done. But it remains one task, yeah, is a pledge of the doctors, and maybe in French, so it's your turn.
En présence de mes pairs, parvenu à l'issue de mon doctorat en sciences du sport et ayant ainsi pratiqué, dans ma quête du savoir, l'exercice d'une recherche scientifique exigeante, en cultivant à la rigueur intellectuelle, la réflexivité éthique et dans le respect des principes de l'intégrité scientifique. Je m'engage, pour ce qui dépendra de moi, dans la suite de ma carrière personnelle, quel qu'en soit le secteur ou le domaine d'activité, à maintenir une conduite intègre dans mon rapport au savoir, mes méthodes et mes résultats. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, merci beaucoup. Yeah, maybe I can. So I will speak something. Yeah. At first, I'd like to thank my jury members, Professor Antoine and Professor Babot, for the comments and questions you gave me during the examination. And also I'd like Professor Bussu and Professor Ledon who give me the many questions, and you are the academic idol for me, so I read many your articles, and thank you for Duanhong. You become my 3 years CSI member, so during these 3 years you give me many advice. And then I'd like to thank you, my professor, Rugby. And every time you give me the positive feedback, and you support me and encourage me to do any academic decisions, and I can learn from you both personally and academically, and you give me the chance to take part in many conferences, and you let me know more about people. Pour la dernière phrase pour vous, je vais parler en français. Peut-être que je ne suis pas votre meilleur étudiant, mais vous êtes mon meilleur professeur. Yeah. Then I'd like to thank Professor Gao. And without you, I can't be here because you take care about our Chinese students, and without you make such effort to the Sino-French project, all the Chinese girls can't come here to do this kind of research. And then I'd like to thank the Kilin. Thanks for every time you correct my grammar in the articles, and I learn English from you. Yeah, thank you very much. Then I'd like to thank my cooperation team, XCV. Thanks, Monsieur Simon. I really like working with you, and thank you for your trust. Every time I show my results to you, and you agree that sometimes, like maybe Jean-Noël ask me the questions, I feel that I'm so proud of my results and I'm useful for our team. And also thanks for Matthew. Without you, I can't finish my thesis because I wouldn't have the data. Yeah, thank you. And also thanks for the players in the Rugby Club of Rennes, because these guys make the sports science alive. Last year, we won the championship in the Pro D2, and after that, I think I was become the part of the team, because now I don't work in Rennes, but I focus on every match. So maybe in the future, RCV still is part of my life. Yeah, I really appreciate that all the opportunities you gave me, and also thanks Kevin, but he's not here, so maybe you can tell him that I thank him. Yeah. Then I'd like to thank my colleague from MDS. And the first I'd like to thank my old colleagues like Carol, Annabelle, Hibika, and Yanis is already late, and Homa, Simon, and Arthur. And also, I like Alexander Adhiel. You are my closest colleagues. So. And also, I like to thank the first year and second year PhD students like Norman, Clelia, and Julie, Victor, Jos. I forgot to say Homa, sorry, Homa, my old colleague, because we know of each other for 3 years. And also for the Kelia and Louis and Sadat and Lola. C'est tout? Yes, je crois c'est tout. Thank you, and thank you for every time you correct my French. And it's very nice to know more about you, and I really like talking with you, communicating with you, and I can know more different French culture. Yes, I really, je vous aime. Then I'd like to thanks for my Chinese colleague. Yeah. For Zhiwen, we had a very nice trip in Belgium, and during that time we have no pressure, and we just across the whole country. And I really like your personalities, and every time you encouraged me to, during every work, you encouraged me, like, come on, you can do it, like that. Yeah? Yeah. Also, I'd like to thank Xinrui, and she prepared a lot for me for the presentation, and I hope you will have a good start here. And then I'd like to thank my Chinese colleague, Xiaopan, Fen, Ling Xia. They were in China now. And also thanks Ding Yi, Liang Ye. Liang Ye is already left because she has work to do. And I feel that you are because we have the same background, education background, so when I came to France, I didn't feel alone, and I feel there's someone still here. And also, I'd like to thank my Chinese friend, Amy and Xiaoyuan, and today they came from Biuliu University, Hainan, which is a long way to come here, and I really missed the Christmas holiday with them. It's about 22 days, but my professor didn't know that. Yes, every time we have the nice conversation, and I really like to have the meal with you because we have different personalities, but we just have fun, and we talk about everything we can, especially for the deep talk. And then also I like to thank the only master, Audrey. Thank you for coming here. You play rugby, and I think you are very like this. Yeah. So welcome. Thank you for your presence. And then I'd like to thank my French friend, Mathieu. Thank you for coming here from Frère today. And every time after my presentation, he asked me the questions about my PowerPoint presentation and gave me the suggestions on the next presentation. And he helped me to know that I need to focus on the ability I have so that I can become confident. And then I like to thank my another French friend, Norman. She got up early at 5 a.m. this morning from Paris, and she come here to share this moment with me. And really appreciate that, and I hope I can study mathematics as well as you. And also thanks for other professor coming here. Very nice to meet you, and this I appreciate that you can come. And also I'd like to thank the administrative in MWS, Carole, Gael, and Natalie for doing student work like me, for student like me. And also I'd like to thank Patrice and Romain for the whole day yesterday and today's device test. Je crois tout. Then I'd like to thank my Chinese friend. Although we are in different parts, maybe someone in Japan, someone in Hong Kong, someone in Shenzhen in China, but or in Shanghai, we tested each other every day. So I share every experience in France with them, and they are willing to hear, and they give me much more support in spirit. And I love you. Thank you. And then I'd like to thank my family member, and thanks to my grandparents. I believe their presence is always in my heart. And I'd like to thank my parents because the meaning of my Chinese name is fly in the universe freely. So they support every decision I made. And maybe they are not familiar what I have done in France because it's quite different area, but they are willing to hear everything. Yeah. And lastly, I'd like to thank myself. Oh, thank you, please. Oh, I forgot. Sorry. thank you for your suggestions for my PhD defense. So you gave me the very, very important suggestions. Thank you. System, yeah. So I like to thank myself for being so brave, because at first it's not easy for a girl to come to France in different either for me, and I deal with many challenge alone. So after that, I become strong, and I think I can deal with everything well, and I'm confident about my future. So finally, I like to the last sentence I like to share is, did I call Victor? Did I thank you? Okay. Sorry. Okay. And the last sentence for you is like, I feel so lucky to know all about you, and je vous aime. Je vous aime. Merci. Yeah, that's all. Maybe we can take photo together, like I do. Do like this. Yeah. Okay. Maybe I can do the video like so.
No, but because we have to do some official photos for you know that. Stand together.
Okay, it's your time now. So.
No, you organize to take official photos. Then a lot of people can help us take photos.
Okay, Zhiwen, can you help me take us photo?
Because I didn't have us the
So that I thank you. I forgot.
Yeah, with the logo. 对，要拍的。对 all the jury members of jury and directors and with flowers and with
对，拍的正经一点，要上公众号的。没事，多拍几张咔就完了。
在哪儿拍的？哎，在哪儿？
我也不知道。
对，你把这个弄上去。你把这个关掉，那个关掉。Sorry. Take maybe 2 minutes.
Patis, est-ce que je peux partager l'écran? Je peux pas partager l'écran parce que c'est parce qu'il a la première page. Oui. 也在上面。然后他帮我。你不要拍到脸。Thank you again. Thank you. Ça va? Thank you. And we will have the pod test as the S later, so I need time to prepare it. So after it finish, I will ask you to join. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, congratulations.
It's very nice to meet you. I remember I see you last year with
Istanbul.
Thank you, it's just like a dream. I can't believe it.
Ok, vous venez pour la photo?
Oui.
Avec
le docteur,
merci.
directeur, fleur, oui, avec le docteur, directeur, fleur, membre. Oui, la fleur. Non. C'est moi qui passe. Only you.
Allez, at the center.
Oui.
Okay.
You are the king now.
Near.
Near you?
Okay, yes. Here.